Welcome back. And I'm going to put together section E. To be honest with you, I have prepared this and cut this. It's been over a week since I started this project, and I had other things in between, so I couldn't finish. Like, you go on a roll, you remember what you're doing, and then you stop for a week and you really don't remember everything. So bear with me on that, and hopefully we'll go through it quickly. Okay, so section E, look how many elements I have here. I got a lot of elements, a lot of different parts to it. Oh, and great. I just started the video and my landscaper just started mowing the lawn. Great. If you hear that in the background, uh, it'll stop soon. Okay. First thing first, we always do the base. This is E1. It's 8 by 10 and 5/8. Okay. And I'm going to put this at the back. I don't know which. Maybe I'll put it at the back of this. So I'm going to do. Because I really don't remember. I think I put these two sections together. This might have been the last section that I've done. So this and this go together. Okay, and now I have this one to go on the bottom, and this one also go on the bottom. I don't know why I have a lot of sections that have bottom parts to them. Kind of have 3 of them with a bottom part. So this will be on the top one, the top section. That's E. Okay, so it will be a top section. I'm going to actually start with one of the last elements that I decided to add to it, which is, of course, a buckle. This is E15. So E15 is the last section that I decided to add, but it will actually go, it will be the first one to go. Okay. So E15 is 8.5 by 1 3/4. I'm going to have one on the right, one on the left. Okay. So it's 8.5, and I did 4 score lines here. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. It started at 5/8. So 5/8, 3/4, 7/8, and 1 inch. And if I fold all of them, it has like a little circle, like that. And when I add it to both sides, it'll be a buckle. So I'm going to put it in the center. I'm not really sure where. I don't remember the rest of my design, but for now I'm going to put it in the middle. I think it's a safe place to do it. Okay. So I'm going to align this at the center and find the center of my grid. You know, I always use the grid line here. Okay. So that's good. Gonna do the same thing on the other side. Okay. So the reason that I put this first is everything that goes on top of the page will be able to be kept together with this little buckle that I'm doing. Okay. And for the buckle, I have 2 solid color cardstock and 2 pattern papers. And they're 1.5 by 7.25. Okay, so 1.5 by 7.25. I have 2 solids and 2 pattern. And then I have this one. It's going to be like a buckle right here in the middle. You can put it this way, this way. Maybe I'll do it in like a diamond shape. I've never done a diamond shape on this. Usually do square. And I want to put this one inside the other like that. And this over here. Okay. But this I can use at the end. I can put that at the end. Don't have to do it now. So I'll put this on the side for right now. Okay. These 2 pieces I can add. I'm going to put the 2 red ones on the bottom and the black ones on top. And oh, before I do that, we have to use a magnet. We have to put the magnet. So obviously one will go on top of the other like that. One here. And one here. You know what? I'm going to just wait and put this last, just because if I need to make any other adjustments to the magnets when all the pages are in, then it'll be easier for me to do it when I don't have any paper on it. So, okay. So let's just put this on the side for now. I'm going to put the back of the tape on it. And I'm going to wait. Okay. Okay. Now, let's move on. Let's find E2. I have E2 as a top flap. It goes like that. I have E3 right flap and E3 left flap and 4 by flaps. So I have 3 flaps. I'm going to put them together first, and then I'll put them on the page. Okay, so E2 top flap. I double scored it at 1/4 inch. Okay, so I have 1/4 inch here. I have E8 pocket. So E8, oh, I didn't give you the measurements. E2 is 8 by 10 and 7/8. And on the 10 and 7/8 part, I double scored it. E8 pocket is going to be 9 by 5.5, and it's double scored on the 9-inch side by 5.5, and it's scored once on the 5.5 side. Okay, so this will be here on the bottom. And then I have these 2 pieces. The pattern paper is 4 3/4 by 7 3/4. And then I have this. Wait, I have glue on it. And then I have this over E8 that's 5 by 7 3/4. So this will go on the background, and this will go here. Okay. And I have this little piece. I don't remember where it goes. I think this one goes over here on the top. Okay, so this will go over here on the top. This goes over the pocket. Try to bring it closer so you can. I have a tendency to work here. Higher so you can see everything. Better, I hope. See what's the right side. This is the right side. And this will go over here at the pocket. So, my apologies because it seems that my voice or my audio just stopped working, so I'm gonna have to narrate it. Okay, so I'm speeding it up a little bit, and we are doing here what you see now is putting a pocket over E3. So E3 is a left flap. It's 8.5 by 10. And the pocket that goes over the E3 is E9, and it is 9 by 5.5. So really, I would just suggest to look over the cut list that I provided, and it will be easier for you to get the exact measurements. And I'm just going to walk you through the sections that I'm doing right now, so you'll be able to relate it to the cut list and see the measurements there. Okay, so this is the top of E3. And if you're not sure about the measurements, just look it up. You can put the paper down and deduct a 1/4 inch, then this way you'll get an 1/8 of an inch border all around. Okay, so if the width of this is 8, the width of the paper will be about 7 3/4, that kind of thing. Okay, so this is the pocket, and because I used I think I made a mistake here, and I used a different cut for the pocket, but I didn't want to rip it out, so I'm just adding a little piece of black cardstock over it just to make it look better. But you can leave the pocket here at the measurement of 9 by 5.5. It'll give you an 8 by 5 pocket, which is deep enough. So I'm just, doing a correction here, and I'm adding a piece of cardstock at the back, and that will make the pocket a little higher, a little taller. I'm just getting rid of some excess glue that I have here. So just using a blade, you lightly go over it with a blade, and it will take the adhesive out. Just tweaking. Okay, so we have the top part, and we have E3, which is the left flap. And now we're going to go ahead and do E2, which is the right flap. So the wing of where it's going to attach to the base is going to be on the right side. E2 is 8 by 10 7/8, and it's double scored. Okay. And I'm putting the tape over the pocket. Basically, I'm doing it very similar to E3. It's going to have a pocket, and that's about it. Okay, so just measuring that the width of my pocket is good. And over this pocket, I'm going to put a flat pocket as well, because I had 2 strips there, so I might as well just add a little flat pocket there. So I have 3 pattern paper going there, one on the top. It's going straight over E2, E3. Sorry, no, E3 is the left flap. E4 is the right flap. Sorry guys, it's been a long day. Okay, so that's my pocket. That's the flat pocket that goes over E4. And the width of it is 8. I'm not sure what the height is going to be. And this will go on the top part of the pocket. Oh, I was showing here, I found this little strip and I put it with the wrong part, so I added it to the E2 top flap. Okay, and now I just have to fill in that black space there. So I'm looking for remnant, and I will take a remnant that's a 1/2 inch by 7 3/4, and I'm just going to add it over there. And sometimes I just have to take a blade and use the blade instead of a trimmer. So, okay. Putting the double side tape at the back of that little strip, and then I'll attach it. And that's why I like keeping the remnants and not throwing them out, because sometimes you just need a little piece here, a little piece there, and they come in handy. Okay, so these are my 3 pieces: my top flap E2, my left flap E3, and my right flap E4. And I'm going to go ahead and attach them to E1. I think what I'm doing here is I'm doing the back side of E2. Okay, so on the back side of E2, I have a E5 top flap. That's 8 by 6 3/4, and it is double scored on the 6 3/4 side. Okay, just make sure you're putting it on the right side. You see the flap area is on the bottom, so it's opposite where the wing is. Okay. Then I have another little flap, and that goes over E5. That's E7, and it's 4 1/4 by 6 5/8. Okay, so I have 2 strips here that is 6 by 1 1/2, and I'm going to put them on the sides of the flap.
Okay, and this little piece will go or in the middle on top of the flap. And I think that's 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. And then I have two little strips that are 1/4 inch, and I'm going to put them on either side of the flap. I'm just trying to figure out here what goes in the next. I'm just making sure that I didn't plan on putting it somewhere else. So I'm making sure, and I decided that yes, it goes here on the top of E5. Right there. Okay, and then I'm putting the two 6x4 white cardstock on the back side of the flap. Okay, so this is a cutout that I've done, and I'm just going to do a frame inside a frame inside a frame. So the beige piece is 3x4 1/4. The black piece is 4x2 5/8, and the pattern cutout is 2.5 by 3 5/8. So your best bet is to really cut out the element first, then add a 1/4 inch on each side every time you add a frame. Okay, and the other side of the flap, again, we'll have two strips and the white cardstock there. Okay, so this section here is the back side of E2, E1, E1, E3, and E4. Okay, so on the back side of E1, E3, and E4, I have 3 parts, and they're all going to be the same. Okay, the first thing I have is a flap. So you're going to have 3 flaps here. And they are 6 3/4 by 4 1/4, and those flaps are E16. Okay. So what I did is I took a piece of pattern paper, and that's 7 3/4 by 7 3/4, and I cut a window out of it. So I can use that pattern paper for something else, but then I put white cardstock there, and when the flap is down, you don't really see the area where the photo goes to. On top of the flap, I put colored cardstock, also 4 by 6. The red cardstock is also 6 by 4, and then I put one of the cutouts right on top of it, and I think this one is 5.5 by 3.5. I'm going to do the same exact thing on the other two. Okay, so this is E12, they're top flaps, and I have 3 of them, the same thing. I'm gonna put another top flap in the center, which is 6 3/4 by 4 1/4. I have pattern paper that was 7 3/4 by 7 3/4 with a window cut out of it. two white cardstocks that are 4x6, one colored cardstock 4x6 on the top of the flap with a cutout that is 5.5 by 3.5. Okay, so that made 3 parts, and now I'm going to make some flat pockets that will go on the bottom part of E1, E3, and E4. So these flat pockets are E11, and they're going to go over, no, sorry, they're not E11. I'm trying to figure out where they go in. Flat pockets. Okay, I don't know where I put them. They're going to be about 8 by, I think they're about 8 by 2.5. I'm not sure. Okay, I will put the measurements later, but these flat pockets, 3 of them are going on the bottom of E1, E3, and E4. I think there's the E11 ones. I think they're 7 5/8 by 2.5, but I'm not really sure. I will check it later and put it on your cut list. What I did not figure out when I was designing this page is that when I have 3 flaps going right on top of each other, I did not account to it when I was doing the top flap. So what I went ahead and did later is I had to give E2 a little more than double score there of a 1/4 inch. Okay, so now we're doing the back side. And again, we'll do all of them the same way. And this is just a strip of red cardstock that I'm putting over there. That's a 1/2 inch by 7 3/4. And it will be placed right atop where the wing is attached of the top flap. And to cover that black area, I just took some craft color cardstock and I cut it to 7 3/4. I think it is 6 1/2. And I added it to the back. Or 6 1/4, 6 1/4 or 6 1/2, I don't remember. Okay, so I cut 3 of those. And I'm cutting an additional one with a craft color paper to put it at the back of the top flap, the inside flap there. So just measure what size you need and cover the entire space over there, of course leaving 1/8 of an inch border on all the sides. Okay, so now that all the parts inside are ready, I'm attaching some pattern paper over the belt that I put in the beginning. Remember that belt, E15? Okay, so I have 4 pieces. 2 of them are red and 2 of them are pattern, and they're 1 1/2 by 7 1/4. And make sure, first of all, before you put the pattern paper, that the magnet sits in the right spot and that you have a strong enough magnet so that when you apply the pattern paper on top of it, it'll still be operational. So inside the 2 belts, I'm putting the solid color cardstock, and on the outside, I'm putting the pattern paper. Okay, and now for the last touch is I'm going to make a little buckle element, and you can choose whatever you like to put there as a focal point. I took 4 squares. Again, it's frame within a frame within a frame. I'm trimming the corners, make them round, and I'm going to put it on the belt in a diagonal. So it just makes it something a little bit more interesting. Okay, and that's the last pattern paper that goes inside the buckle. And I have to put glue only in the middle. This is where it's going to get attached. And press down, and there you go. Now I'm going to put the little circle there with a little cutout from the last page where you have all the cutouts. Oh, and I forgot I have that one too. Okay, so that's a 4x6 cutout that I trimming the edges off. Make it a little smaller. And I chose to do the B side of it and leave a little spot so you can write something there. Since it's the last page, it'll be nice to just conclude it with a little writing. And here you go. That section is done. And it has lots of room to put things there. Very pretty. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you stopping by.